All right, I'll admit that sometimes I tune people out, but mostly because they rarely have anything useful or interesting to say.
It's empty.
What?
Her closet's empty. Her drawers are empty. Her perfume's gone.
Where's her things? Where did they go?
I'm guessing Paris.
That's a clap.
What? Dan, we're back. We're back in the shack. Shack out back.
We're back recording. I feel good. This was a fantastic topic that Jim picked today.
Good old Jim. It's a Jim pick, so it was
absolutely fantastic.
Jim picked it, so it's probably a fucking something to do with cinema, and it definitely was.
Yes, it was.
How are you doing, Dan? I don't think I asked you enough how you're doing in the show. How are you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm going good. I am just enjoying life. I'm a very easy, laid-back kind of guy. There's not too much that really like stresses me out or makes me worry. I'm hanging out.
How
about you, Jim? How are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm hanging in there, hanging along, bopping along to today's top hits. Our trip to Nova Scotia is rapidly approaching, Dan.
Yes, it is in... When is it? It's June? June
4th.
June 4th.
So
Holy shit.
If you want to come cut our heads off, it's then.
Yeah, we're going to be in Nova Scotia. That'll be really, really fun. I'm really excited.
We've never been on vacation together. Maybe we'll fucking hate it.
Maybe we'll hate it. We'll have to sleep in the same bed. That'll be annoying.
Tips to tails, me and you, and then Cassie gets a whole room to herself. That'll be good.
Uh-huh. Well,
right.
Jim, tell me, let's start with the classic, the weekly breakdown. What have you been doing?
Me, Jim, old Jimby, bi-weekest breakdown. Here we go. I got my notes out. I laughed at Dan this week. I laughed at Dan because he takes notes. He has a little notebook that he takes notes in now. He's a little fastidious man.
I need to say more than, I play board games and watch anime. I want to give examples, Jim.
Well, I'm going first. I watched Loki. I watched Moon Knight on the Marvels.
You've become a real Marvel guy.
No, I haven't. They're not that great.
Sure.
Because I watched Venom 2, and Venom 2 was awesome.
You liked Venom 2, really?
Yeah, Marvel doesn't make that. I wanted more gore. I wanted to see more heads getting bit off.
Well, yeah,
it
needs to be R-rated. Like, it needs to be an actual, yeah.
I watched Dragged Across Concrete, which is an S. Craig Zoller joint. Same guy who made Brawl in Cell Block 99 and Bone Tomahawk. It was gratuitous and violent and swearful and gory and gross. I liked it. I think it's his least good film, but I still liked it. I watched a movie called Mississippi Burning with Willem Dafoe and Gene Hackman, and it was okay. It was about racism in the South, but then I read about that everything in the movie was very exaggerated. It was based on a true story, but everything was made up basically, which I didn't
Jim
appreciate.
said maybe the South actually isn't racist.
I did not say that. They were very racist. It was a very racist film. I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit because my roommates had not seen it. I watched it again. It's one of my favorite movies, and still one of my favorite movies. Dan got me into something. Dan got me into a band formerly known as Republic Hair, and now they're called Hey Steve.
Yes, I got Jim into another band.
Dan has good music takes, apart from Weezer. I fucking hate Weezer. But
Weezer's good. You'll turn around on Weezer.
Shut the fuck up. But Hey Steve's amazing. They sing songs about being Steve and fucking bombs and all that good stuff.
Very good band.
I also spent a lot of time playing Pokemon Sapphire from the Game Boy Advanced, and I don't like it at all. Not a good game. Not a good game to revisit. And I also played and finished Plague Tale Innocence, which you had finished before.
Oh, yes.
I greatly enjoyed the game. I think that the sequel is probably going to be a lot better because the main thing I had a problem with was the combat system. And, I think the main thing I had a problem with was that you don't have a health bar in that game. It's just you
just always die in one hit, right?
Yeah, so if it's about, two kids during a quote-unquote plague, it's, a very exaggerated, mythical, magical plague.
If plagues were like this, it would be fun. People would have, rats and stuff for pets.
She, has a sling, and she, can kill people with rocks and, set things on fire and stuff. But if some guy comes up to her with a sword, they're immediately stabbing her to death. There's no, oh,
There's
I got
no
hit
press X
for
to dodge
60%
the
of
sword.
damage.
Yeah.
It's like you get hit and you fucking die and you have to do it again. And there was Dan played it and he said the last boss was bad.
Oh,
But
it's horrible.
I didn't find the last boss that bad. I didn't find it that frustrating. But there's a part where like you're with your brother, who you're going with through the whole game, you're trying to protect him, and your friend is like pushing a cart, and you have waves of dudes set at you, and I literally smashed my keyboard. I wanted to rip and tear my grundle hose out. It pissed me off so bad.
Jim was getting mad at the rat game. I'm really excited for the sequel. It definitely feels like one of those games that I think we were talking about it a few days ago. It's an indie game 100%, but it's not how you'd expect an indie game to be, because you could buy it physically.
Slick looking. Yeah,
it's like AA. Like it's a good game.
They had a good basis. They had a good
100%.
like the puzzles in it are fun. They're not frustrating.
I like the world a lot.
Yeah.
I like the universe a lot, and you know me, I'm a guy who loves a good rat game. I love Dishonored, and this is another rat game.
But that's it for my weakest breakdown. If you want to talk about stuff, Dan, because we did some stuff last night, but I think you should talk about that.
Let's see. Me and Cass watched a movie called Coming Home in the Dark. It was a New Zealand movie. I believe it was a Netflix exclusive. It made me want to put a bullet in my head. It was so fucking boring, and it was one of those movies where people get kidnapped, and the entire time, Jim, you're just going, why did they do that? Why are they doing that? Just run away. Why did you not hit him? Just run away.
This reminded me, the name of this movie reminded me of a movie I've seen, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which is a very good film, but it's not that.
Yeah, you'll have to watch this. Tell me what you think, because it is an artsy movie, but we didn't enjoy it. I watched Spider-Man No Way Home as well with Cass.
I have to watch that again.
Yeah, my take on it, and I don't know if it's a hot take, I don't think this movie really has any legs to stand on. I think it's a really cool movie, but the whole time I was like, show me more bits of just the three spider dudes talking. That's more fun than the movie. I don't care about... This movie was just nostalgia. It was just nostalgia. That's what it was. The entire
movie.
time I was like, I know that guy. That's Otto Octavius. I know that guy, yeah.
My favorite parts of this movie were, what's his name from The Amazing Spider-Man? That fella, Andrew Garfield.
Oh, I loved seeing him again. I like him. He's a nice guy.
He was so good in this movie. And his movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, fucking suck. Because the director in it is a fucking hack. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy could have been an amazing Spider-Man. And he just got fucking ripped off by being attached to this stupid director.
Give me a slice of life rom-com where they all have the same date and they have to switch back and forth at a prom, the three Spider-Man. I started new season of anime I started Skeleton Knight in Another World. I started Love After World Domination, Spy Family, and Dance Dance Dancer. And
the emaciated crane show. Dance
they
Dancer.
have real long necks in that show. I'm enjoying it though. We went to the ROM, me and Cass. We saw the blue whales skeletons and all that. That was really, really cool.
You saw Cool Guns. You sent me Cool Guns.
Yeah, I
the
sent you
matte
pictures
cartridge
of Cool Guns.
version. It was fucking neat.
Oh, we watched Moonfall. That'll be an episode of this show. Moonfall was... It will go down as a good, bad movie. Like, if it was a little bit shorter, it would be way more received. But, like, it's a good, bad movie, Jim. You have to watch it. It's good. We started Better Call Saul Season 5. Just got on Netflix. And then we watched Fear.com last night. We had me and Jim and my girlfriend Cassie and our other friends, Patrick and Ian. And... yeah, Patrick was like, I found this movie called Fear.com. It sounds epic. And we didn't even, like, we started skipping through it.
We finished it, but, like, it was
horrible.
It was an hour and 40 minutes, and the hour and 10 part, we were like, okay, skip to the fights. Okay,
there has to be 5 minutes left, and then there was 50 minutes left.
Yeah. And then we watched the end. It's Dan, you got the name wrong. It's fear.com.com.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That's literally just an oversight on their end. I guarantee it is.
From all the UI.
I just don't really get it. Fear.com.com. Maybe you didn't say the .com back then, but no, obviously you did, because they said it. Fuck me. Makes me mad.
And what else did we watch?
Oh yeah, we watched Sam Hyde's Moms and Sam Hyde's
Shut the fuck
Utopia.
Up. Shut up.
What else we watched? We have Real Life Goblin videos.
Oh, shut the fuck. I meant the movie, you prick.
We watched.
Dan always puts on these horrible videos. That fucking video of. Okay, I think we've talked about it on Shack Up Back before. There's this video that they made called Moms or something. And it's just fucking dudes who hire these women to be like in the skit with them off a newspaper. And they just like berate them and make them feel bad for 40 minutes. It feels like 40 minutes, but it's 10 minutes and the video ends.
Jim, if you just gotta say it's funny, okay? You don't have
Just
to
imagine. It was me and Pat and Ian and Kathy sitting on the couch looking in horror, and Dan was shrieking his little goblin laugh sitting on the chair like, ah!
Yes, I was.
He was
Everyone
watching
go
it.
type in Moms Sam Hyde. It's not by Sam Hyde's YouTube, it's by like their, what was it, like Millionaire Century Boys or whatever the hell it's called. Watch that if you want a good laugh. I don't know, Jim, I forget. What movie did we watch?
Birdemic.
Well, no, we watched Birdemic. You're right.
So I had seen the John Tron's review of Birdemic
Yes.
like 10 years ago, so I knew what it was, but I'd never seen it. But Pat had no idea what it was.
Pat was amazed. Pat was like, he was just enamored.
Pat loved it. But is that it? Is that it for your horrible fucking goblin list, Dan?
That's it. Yeah, type in like, Patrick made a good point. Type in real life goblin videos on YouTube and then watch the newest uploaded ones with like 3 views and you get just
You watch snuff
insanity.
films, you watch people die, you watch
Literally,
people get stabbed.
you watch crazy shit. But let's talk about this episode is about Marvelous Miss Maisel, an Amazon Prime exclusive show, and it is fucking amazing. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, in my opinion.
I agree. It's fucking hilarious. I laugh heartily every time I watch
Every
a new episode.
Yeah, me too.
Marvelous Miss Maisel. It's about a woman in the late 50s, early 60s as the show progresses. Miriam Maisel. She's a uptown lady. She met a boy in university. They got married, had kids, live in the modern lifestyle, and then her husband leaves her because he's not satisfied with life, and she becomes a stand-up comedian.
Yeah,
Pretty much. She's fucking hilarious. It's really good.
Follows her journey becoming a comedian and all the fallout that happens with her being a comedian. And
I think that,
yeah.
Dan, how do you want to introduce Miss Maisel? How do you want to start talking about it?
Okay, so first I'll say we say we're going to talk about season 1, and then me and Jim pretty much watched all of season 1 together one day. We just kept watching more episodes, and then Jim the next day goes, I'm on season 3, I need to stop.
And then
Are
I
you
watched
on
all
season
of it.
4?
No, I finished it.
You finished all of the show.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There was one day about a week ago where I sat, and I didn't have anything to do that day, so I sat with my roommates and then drank an entire bottle of whiskey, and I watched like a season and a half of Marvelous Miss Maisel.
It's so good. I'm halfway through season 2, so we can loosely talk about more so season 1.
Yeah, this is going to be about season 1 primarily. Yeah. But the way I was introduced to the show was my roommates, like, they work during the day, and then they come home, they're married, and then they watch television shows together. And I was just coming down one time, and I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's called Marvelous Miss Maisel," and they were watching the 4th season, which I just rewatched the last bit of it today. And I just sat down and watched it with them for a few minutes, and I stayed for 2 hours. It was so fucking funny. Yes. I could not stop laughing watching it.
Yes.
And then I was like, we need to do this for Shack Out Back. So I just started at the beginning, and it's funny all the way through. It's funny.
It's hilarious. And I don't... How do you word this without sounding like a pompous dickhead? I don't laugh openly at many shows very easily. You might get one of like the... or like a nose like exhale. This show has had me laughing and slapping my legs and pointing at the screen like an ape multiple times because it was so funny.
It's an extremely good show. It's made and written and directed mostly by Amy Sherman Palladino, who made the Gilmore Girls.
Yes, I was reading about that today.
She made some other stuff in Gilmore Girls and then this. And it's so fucking good. And the other thing that I wanted to say about the show that I want to come up with, it's like the lady who made Gilmore Girls. It's the mom from 2.5 Men. Bad show. It's Toby Shalhoub, who did Monk and then basically nothing else. He's amazing in it. It's the guy who was in Usual Suspects and the Grumpy Old Men movies who plays Moish. He's so fucking funny. And it's like all these people I've seen in other things. And then the lady who plays Lois Griffin and did Yellowface on Mad TV. She plays Susie in the show. And she's so fucking funny. They're all amazing actors that haven't had like been able to do like their best work until now, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't seen everything they've done, but I grew up with Mad TV and whatever, but this is so funny. So I think I want to... You tell me some of your favorite aspects of the show, Dan, and we'll go from there.
I will say, first thing I noticed, this show is beautifully shot. Like, I don't know how much each episode costs, but it oozes substance. Every shot looks so good. They have, like, obviously period-accurate cars and signs and outfits and all this stuff. And I don't know how they did it, because they don't skimp away from having big set pieces either. Like, they don't show little tiny rooms or anything. They're on the streets.
I think that what they do is that they did a lot of what Mad Men did. Is like the beginning of the season and the end of the season, they have great big like establishing shot scenes where they're going to a club or they're going to like this really fancy place, and they'll do like big long takes of them walking through and doing jokes and picking up drinks and the camera's moving around and shit. It's so impressive and good looking. But then in the middle of the season, they just do more character work, and they'll go to like the sets. They'll go to like the Wiseman apartments, and they'll go to like the Gaslight, and they'll just talk and do jokes and stuff like that. I feel like I might be wrong, but a lot of these, probably not the apartment sets, but a lot of the like clubs and shit like that are probably like real places. Like some of the like random places that Miriam and Susie go to are probably a lot of real clubs. Like maybe not New York,
I could
but
see that.
They're probably real locations. And I think that expands out in the other seasons too, that they go to like Florida and they go to like different places and they shoot on location and different stuff. It's like the show looks expensive. But it does. There's things that look expensive, right? There's things that have like shitloads of CGI in them and stuff. Like Fear.com we just watched last night. That looked expensive because it was a movie made in 2002. It's got like big intricate sets and like set pieces and websites and stuff. They do nothing with them. They do absolutely fucking nothing with them.
It was $40 million budget. What did it make? Like 18 million?
16 million or something like that.
Yikes.
But Miss Maisel, they take this, like, these great sets, and they put character actors in them, and they just work so well. Fuck!
Jim loves it. I also wanted to touch on the CG. I notice it sometimes, and it is so well done. They don't overdo it. They mostly, I find, use it for big buildings, like
backgrounds
the Chrysler Building and the Eiffel Tower, and backgrounds, like some signs I've definitely noticed where, like, that's a CG touched-up sign to make it look period appropriate and stuff, and it looks really good. Like, they're not using CG in your face or anything. They're just using it like how I think CG should be used. It just is.
That's the way to do it, because that's what they did in Zodiac. You ever watch Zodiac, Dan?
No, I do not.
But David Fincher made that movie, and you would be surprised at how many of the sets are just like a big green room a la Star Wars Episode 3. It's just like they make like a one set that's like a street, and they do like, you know, cars and stuff, and they put actors on them, and then the rest of it's CG, but you don't even notice. And the same thing here is that they work more with practical sets, like they shoot on the street and stuff like that, but the way they touch up the background and stuff is just subtly done, I would say.
Yeah, it's nice. Jim, I would say let's try and go through this show, maybe work out from the characters in a big ever-expanding circle, starting with Midge and Joel, and then we can touch on their parents and what happens with the other characters.
Dan did some homework this week, listeners. He sent it to me today, and I screamed and laughed and cried. It was amazing. Dan made a family tree for the show to touch on.
Yeah, I need to know how... Jim's laughing at me, but I've got it right in front of me. I can tell you... Rose and Abe had Noah and Midge. Noah married Astrid. Midge and Joel got married. And Shirley and Moish is Joel's kid. And then
Shirley and Moish are Joe's kid. Yep,
no,
you got it right.
Shut the hell up. Joel is Shirley and Moish's kid. And there's a red line going through Joel and Midge's line because they got divorced. And then they had Esther and Ethan. Very easy.
Knows. I remembered every one of their names except for Noah's wife.
Yes, Astrid. You see her a few times, and both times was very, very funny.
She takes a more in-depth
does she? I can see that
aspect of the show later on.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I will say, too, that it's interesting that this show is not only... One of the big things, I would say the Oh no, we're talking about characters first. Let's talk about characters before I get into like overarching shit. What character do you want to talk about, Dan?
So, show focuses around Midge, I would argue, obviously main character. She is the marvelous Miss Maisel. But you learn quite a bit about a lot of the characters, even from where I am in the season, and they get built up a lot more. Midge is, like Jim was saying, mid-50s, 60s housewife, and she starts doing very raunchy comedy for the time. The comedy that'll get you landed in prison for the night, like jail for the night, literally. And Joel basically finds out, and he gets very upset because her entire comedy bits rely on...
That's the end of the season. You're doing the end of the season already.
That's the end of the season, yeah. Her entire comedy bits rely on...
Making fun of her family.
Making fun of her family and stories about her life, but she prefaces it very, very harshly with everything. But... I did not think you'd have me feeling bad for someone who cheated on his wife, but I was feeling bad for Joel.
I love Joel's character.
Me
Joel's
too.
Such like a here's the thing is that like if you watch something like Mad Men set around the same time, like fucking John Hamm's a bad guy. John Hamm's a bad guy. He cheats on his wife. He lies to people. He drinks too much. He treats himself like shit. But Joel is like a little sad little boy who doesn't know what the fuck he wants. He's just like. He did all this stuff, like he wooed Midge, and he loves Midge. It doesn't matter if he does with this whole show. Joel and Midge love each other, and that never stops through the entire show. And Joel like makes a mistake. He like sleeps with his secretary because he doesn't know what he wants. He leaves because he doesn't know what he wants. And then when he realizes, fuck, I fucked up. I want to go back home. And Midge says, no, like you fucked up. And he's like, oh God. And then he spends the rest of the show just, I don't know, trying to make peace with himself, like trying to feel like he belongs somewhere because he truly did fuck up and doesn't know what the hell he wants.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's hard to make you feel bad for someone that cheats on their wife, but Joel was a very nice and is a very nice character. I did feel quite bad for him. Like, obviously not good. He cheated on his wife, but he was straight up like, I don't even like that girl. She's dumb as a fucking bag of bricks.
I think one of my favorite scenes, the one we talked about last night, is when Joel and Midge separate, which is a big thing. And Joel takes Penny, the girl that he cheated on Midge with, to dinner with his parents. And they're like making jokes and they're having fun. And Shirley's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then Penny follows him. And Moi's just laughing and laughing. He turns to Joel and says, no.
She's the kind of girl that you'll bring around, I'll see her once and then never again. She's not the kind of girl that you make a family with. She hasn't eaten anything all night.
And then Shirley comes back.
His mother comes back, I'm just going to take her dessert. She won't even say anything. Watch.
I think Moish and Shirley are like, Moish specifically and Shirley are my favorite characters in the show. Every time Moish comes on,
he's a
lunatic. Laugh. He's a fucking mad lad. He's so fucking crazy. He just says, Moish does not sugarcoat it. Moish just says whatever the fuck he wants.
So, is Moish and Shirley are Joel's parents? Do they get built upon a little bit more in the later seasons as well?
They never go. Like, this core set of, like, the family...
They work so well.
The character actors work so well off each other. Like, Moish and Abe just rub each other the wrong way the entire time. And Shirley is a very annoying, loud woman. And Rose is such a prim and proper lady that when they get in a situation with each other, the way the chemistry works is so fucking funny.
So if we're talking about Joel's parents, I think it was one of the greatest character changes was Abe. Abe is Midge's father. Abe and Rose are together. Abe is fucking hilarious. And he started the show. He was always weird, you said, but he was more so the straight man. He was very strict and
stern.
very stern. And then all of a sudden in season 1, episode 3 or 4, they were like, make him weird, make him do some weird shit. And they have the fight. He just clears out his study into a bunch of book towers, and he's like laying in the middle of them, looking out at how to get out.
Rose is like, okay, Midge comes and tells her parents that like her and Joel are splitting up. And Abe and Rose, Abe's like, you're gonna go and get him back, and this is your fault, and you did this wrong. And Rose is like, just starts crying and pretending everything's fine and whatever. But then later on, Midge like leaves Joel, and Abe's like, okay, I've accepted it, and your mother hasn't, but whatever. And then they fight, and she kicks him out of the study, and he's got all his books in the fucking living room, and he's got a mountain of books he's climbing over. And then
I don't even know where I'm going today. Once I make my decision, I have to stay there.
And then Midge is like, oh, I might get back together with Joel, and Abe is like, what did you say? You're tearing this family apart! And he just screams and yells at her and falls over his books.
Don't say that to your mother. If you say that to your mother, you'll give her hope. You have to be sure you're gonna get back together.
And then, oh God, Abe is like, if your mother kicks me into the kids' room, I will have to kill you. I feel bad about it, but it will happen.
Some of my...
what are we gonna say? You say it.
I was gonna say some of my favorite Abe bits are... So, I have all of them listed just because I've been watching them, but these are from Season 2, but I really like his romper bit when they're up in the Catskills of Season 2. Catskills are like a mountain range up in New York. It's for very fancy people.
Yeah.
But they're up in the Catskills, and it's like late one night, and Abe is with Joel, and they're just hanging out inside, and Abe's like, Joel's like, hey, thanks for letting me stay. I didn't have a cabin. And Abe's like, no worries. I do want to prepare you. Up here, I'm a different man. I wake up extremely early and I do some exercising is a specific outfit. Do you catch my drift? And he's like, I don't understand what you mean, sir. And he says, I wear a romper. What's a romper? It's a one piece for men for athletic attire.
I love that.
You want to see it?
I love that scene with Joel. And then the next scene is Abe getting up in the morning, chugging tomato juice and doing things. But then when Moish and Shirley come, Moish is at dinner and he's just like, is Abe still wear that romper? I'd love to see him in it.
Do you want to see me in the romper? No, I'm okay. Are you sure? You will need to be prepared. I can put it on if you'd like.
No more
I
about
also
season
absolutely
2. No more
love
about season 2.
No more about season 2. Can I say the pack up your fork and lit cigarette bit?
No. Save that for if we talk about this again.
We definitely will. We're definitely going to go into talking about season 2, 3, and 4 at a later date. I guarantee it. But Rose is another character that got absolutely done perfectly. She, again, in the first couple episodes when they were still figuring stuff out.
Concerned mother, very stern, like proper lady.
Cried, freaked out. You couldn't really tell what she was doing for herself. And then all of a sudden they were like, make her like be fucking bored because Abe doesn't give a shit about her. He's always busy. And then she just goes to Paris when I think that was the very start of season 2, right?
Season 2.
Yeah.
Get away with that. But Rose does all these things to kind of like distract herself, and like she's a busybody. She likes other people's lives and stuff.
Yes.
But she starts to feel less and less like fulfilled during this season, which is good. This show is about every character except for Moish and Shirley. Every character except for Moish and Shirley trying to like self-actualize and get to know themselves better, because Moish and Shirley know what Moish and Shirley are about. They don't need to change. They love each other, they love life, and they don't give a fuck.
Yep, I will agree with you. I really like what they did with Rose's character. She is also fucking hilarious. She has such a dry wit to her about everything. Perfect. They made it great. I love Abe's character. I really hope to see more of Abe and Rose, and I'm sure I will.
Like the thing about season 1 is it kind of like sets everything up and gives you the main characters and stuff. Every main character in season 1 is the main characters in season 2, 3, and 4.
That's fantastic. You don't need to cut anything.
Do you want to talk more about the supporting cast? Not supporting cast, because Susie is the other main character in the show.
100%. We'll talk about the other supporting cast. Esther, and Ethan. They're the other supporting cast.
No, there's lots more. But Alex Borstein, who is... Hey, Peter!
Oh my god.
So I think me and Dan watched up to season 3 together.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know she was fucking Lois.
We watched up to episode 3 together. And then in episode 4, there's a scene where Midge and Susie are hanging out at the Gaslight. And they're making a little thing that's like, we're calling Susie Meyerson Associates. And Susie Meyerson goes... Hello there, Susie Meyerson and Associates. It sounds exactly like Lois, and I was like, oh, they really went there, didn't they?
They did. They had to give you a little nod. I did not know she was Lois Griffin's voice actor until my dad actually pointed it out. So I said I was watching this show to my dad. I was like, yeah, we're watching Marvelous Miss Maisel. It's really funny. You should watch it. You'll like it. And he goes, yeah, me and my mom started it, and your mom doesn't like it. She said it wasn't funny. And I said, that's coming from the same woman who said Midnight Mass was, and I quote, too churchy. And I said, Midnight Mass, the show about church, is too churchy for you. Okay, whatever.
She liked Enemy. She liked that when she watched it. No, I don't think she did like Enemy when she watched it.
No, I don't think she did either.
God damn it, Dan's mom. But amazing actress. I mean, like, she is totally lost in this role of Susie, who's just like this boisterous, screaming fuck in the 50s, like, doesn't give a shit, like a rough and tumble lady who just wants to get shit done. And she's Midge's manager after she discovers her at the Gaslight.
Yes.
Such a good, supportive, like, amazing character who just like works her ass off the entire time for Midge. Such an awesome thing. The other thing I like about this show is that no one is like mean to one another. Like, they do bad things and they're not like they're not trying to fuck each other over, but they're just not trying to fuck each other over. Like, the character like problems come from like people not knowing who they are themselves, and that affecting other people.
Yeah, it's not just like someone did a very bad thing to someone else, now they need to say sorry. It's just mostly like not knowing how to handle situations, like not knowing how to handle telling your parents that you do horrible midnight raunchy comedy. I was going to say, it seems like a lot of male comedy acts from the 40s and 50s and 60s were just them going, okay, imagine this. Imagine Abraham Lincoln, but he's shopping for furniture. That's what it was.
It was whitewashed fucking garbage. Like, there's a lot of stand-up in this show. And I think that this is also a trick to make Lenny Bruce and Midge seem more funny, because they'll have comedians come up and do like regular like comedy spots from the 50s and 60s that are like hokey and fucking stupid. Like, all of Sophie Lennon's act is hokey and stupid.
My god, it's so fucking 50s.
Midge goes to like this bar with a shitload of male comedians coming up and performing, and then she gets up and slays because they're so fucking shit. But yeah, like, I would say that like Lenny Bruce's and Midge's act seem a lot more modern, like a lot more. And people were talking about this stuff back in the day. It just wasn't proper because you couldn't even say pregnant.
100%, yeah. I really like Lenny Bruce. I didn't find him that funny at first, but then I started listening more, and I was like, he's a very charming young man. Do you see more of him in season 2, 3, 4?
Recurring character. He's always
is he? Oh, that's perfect.
He's the guy. He's the cool guy. He snaps and he comes up. He's like, Daddy-o, let's make some jokes. Like, oh, you ever heard about this Watergate? Republicans suck. People should bury people of other races. Yeah.
Talking about making jokes, I love... So season 1 also is a lot about Midge making an actual set, trying to make her actual jokes.
And
she usually just got drunk and then said a bunch of raunchy shit and people were laughing, so it was funny. But Susie's like, you can't just drink every show. You need like an actual set. And she goes to... He's a little like cameo character.
It's Wallace Shawn. Wallace Shawn. It's the guy from Princess Bride and My Dinner with Andre. He's a great actor.
I love him. She goes to him and he plays the character of like, he'll help you with your material is what it's
he's like the hey I'm the joke man from the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, you tell me about your life, I'll help you with your jokes. And he's very Jewish. He's very, very Jewish. Everyone in this show is Jewish out their ass, and I love it. No one's goyish. Me and you are goyish.
Me and you are very goyish, I will admit.
Yeah. But Midge gives this guy some money, and he just sends... sends an envelope of like 1,000 cue cards and a pickle. Just a pickle in the box. And she's like, she calls him and she's like, what is this? Like, what are all these cue cards? Well, that's your material. I wrote out every joke is written on those cards. Just say them. What's the pickle for? Well, the pickle's funny. Isn't it funny to get a pickle in the mail? She goes up and she just starts reading them and they're bullshit. They're nothing. He just joke recycles. That's what Susie says to him. She's like, you're a joke recycler. She doesn't even have a sister.
I think, the main focus of the show is almost every one of the main characters is Jewish, and everything is kind of taken from a very Jewish perspective. Like I feel like this is a cool show to watch, because when you watch a show usually set in the 50s and 60s, it's about like like Mad Men. I was thinking about Mad Men a lot when I was watching this. Mad Men, Don Draper is like a white fella. He grew up in like fucking bumfuck nowhere, and he's racist, and he's homophobic, and he's not a nice guy. But I feel like when you're in like a very tight-knit community like this, and like you branch out and you meet new people and you're kind of like a minority in the city, a lot of the interactions between people of different races and stuff in this show is a lot more positive than it would be in a lot of
100%.
other like shows set in the 50s and 60s, which I appreciated. Not to say that they don't touch upon that in the show and in later seasons too, but
They do in such a way that it's not focused on, it's kind of glossed over in the same way that it would have been. Like they have the black woman that works at the makeup counter, and it's said for 1 second, the manager's like, she helps our darker skinned complexion folks. And it's like, and I don't think I ever saw a black woman at that makeup counter anytime, but she was a model. She was like a very successful model in the universe.
that lady, when Midge gets a job at B. Altman, that lady is like the most successful of everyone who works there. Like,
Yes, clearly.
she's traveling to do modeling jobs and stuff, and a lot of what this is Midge going to like very small bars and where people hang out and different things, and a lot of it is them going to like little local hangouts with younger people, like people in their 20s and 30s, and it's a lot of people of like different races. There's Asian people and black people and all different types of people hanging out in these clubs, drinking together, laughing together, which is nice to see in a show that because it's not like a regular show set in the 50s where it's just white people everywhere and then no one's getting along, and they don't even bring up people of other races or problems like that. They're there, and it is a component of the show, but it's not the focus, because the focus is on the Jewish perspective on things, which I appreciate.
I was also going to mention, I thought it would happen more, and maybe it does, but I was really expecting in the first season, and it does a little bit, I was waiting for the time that she was going to have to confront a heckler. And it happens once. Maybe it happens more, but I feel like they touched on it. She's past it because she's very good at comedy. As I was waiting for that the whole season, I was like, someone is going to call her out and be like, hey, get the fuck off the stage. You're a woman. It's the 50s. Get the hell off the stage. And it happens once, and she just
Destroys him.
shits on him.
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off at that. If someone did that at a comedy show, fuck me, you'd feel bad for them. He walked out in shame. And then Joel beats the shit out of him in the streets.
Yep. You know, the 1-2 punch, if you will.
Yeah, he hits him with that 50s punch.
This whole show isn't really about, like, racial relations or anything like that. It is about a woman trying to make it in a man's world.
100%.
She comes up against, like, 100,000 fucking things at every turn that's like, you can't be funny. Like, where's your stick? Dress her up like this. Is she sexy? Does she sing? Everyone asks.
She doesn't look funny. She doesn't look funny. Does she have a lower cut dress? Tits out. They say that a bunch. Tits out, back up.
That's the focus of the show, which is awesome focus, because when I watched a lot of stand up a few months ago, like modern stand up today, and I watched probably like 25 sets, and no one was funny. Bert Kirshner is not funny. That stupid idiot from SNL is not funny. Dave Chappelle is not funny. Not good stand-up. But
These are Jim's hot takes about stand-up.
I watched 2 sets that were good. One of them was Tom Segura. He's like a white fella. He's really funny. Really funny. The other one who was really funny was Sam J, who's a black lesbian lady who talks about being a black lesbian in her act, and it's like just a fresh perspective and a really funny one. She was extremely funny. If you want to watch some good comedy, watch Sam J's comedy special on Netflix. And I think that's what we talk about a lot on Check Out Back, is we want that fresh perspective. We want something that's like unexpected.
I want something new.
Yeah, we want something that we didn't think of looking at or didn't think about, and that's what Marvelous Miss Maisel is. It's a lady who's from a different cultural background that's different from mine, joking about stuff that is fucking hilarious and relatable despite everything.
It really pissed me off. I was talking to one of the people I work with, and I briefly mentioned this show, and I was like, you should check it out, it's really funny. You get the, what's it about? And I say, it's about a Jewish female comedian in the 50s, like, making it and stuff, and it's just very funny. I could tell when I said Jewish female comedian 50s, brain turn off, there's no activity upstairs. No.
I was really surprised today that, like, I probably watched the first season like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me go on YouTube and watch some stuff about like, let me go on and watch
Like video essayists?
Yeah. No one is talking about it. I did not find I didn't find any I didn't find many, if any, video essays about the show, which was so fucking baffling to me.
It's fucking hilarious. It's so funny.
The only thing I was able to watch were like clip compilations that Amazon made about like,
oh my god,
here's some funny Abe moments. I'm like, yeah, these are hilarious. Why isn't anyone fucking talking about it?
YouTube poops Marvelous Miss Maisel.
But yeah, it's really frustrating, and I didn't know anything about this fucking show.
I had never heard about this.
Until
when you told me about this show, I looked at it and I was like, I've definitely seen the banner ad. I would have never clicked on it myself. That's a problem with me too, just because I don't watch TV shows.
It's a problem with me too. I don't want to watch TV shows because I don't want to waste my time watching 40 hours of something that might not be good.
Watching Archive 81?
Yeah. Shut up.
And then it gets canceled?
Yeah. But this show is extremely good. Like, it's one of the best television shows I've seen in a while.
100%. It's top like 5 for me. You got Marvelous Miss Maisel. You got My Name Is Earl. That's the two. That's the bar.
My Name Is Earl is another show that makes me laugh. Like, I haven't watched it in a long time, and again, my roommates were watching it because it's on Disney Plus, and I sat down and watched it, and I remembered a bunch of jokes.
Me
I remembered
too.
episodes, but I'm still laughing at these stupid jokes they make. It's so funny. And again, I talked about that before in Check It Back. That's another show that like takes its characters seriously. Like,
not everything is a bit. These people have lives. Yeah. Even though there's Patty the daytime hooker in My Name Is Earl, she's still a real person and has hobbies and shit.
Yeah.
She's not just the hooker.
Yeah. Same thing.
Oh,
like,
goodness.
Abe isn't just like a professor. He's like a neurotic fella who always talks with his hands. You see him talk with his hands every time he speaks. And he's always in his head and he kind of ignores people, but he really genuinely cares about his family. Like, that's the thing about all of these characters in the show. They are extremely multifaceted. They are very well written characters.
Oh god, they are. This show needs no action. There's no big moments where Midge Maisel steps outside and a bomb goes off behind her, or there's a mugging. Everything's just character moments. Just let them talk and see what happens.
This is a show where people talk and are extremely funny. Like, even the small characters, like Jackie.
Oh, even the one-offs. They're fucking hilarious.
Jackie at the Gaslight. He's in season 2 and 3 a lot too, but he is a very, very funny character who works well off Susie because they're both like boisterous people who don't give a fuck and they have to talk to one another and get things out of each other and they treat each other like shit. It's hilarious.
I like Jackie. I like Jackie because when Midge is still trying to figure out her persona, she's trying to use names and stuff to see what name fits her best as a comedy name. And she goes, Jackie, just make up a name for me. Like I was using the example, I was using like Grace. And he just goes up and goes, Grace Midge, everyone. Just fucking hilarious roles.
Like the arc of the first season, we'll touch on that just a tiny bit here, is like Joel and Midge are together. They have a happy life supposedly, but they figure out they're both not happy. And then they come back together. But at the end, when Joel sees her on the stage talking about like doing what he couldn't do, because the beginning of the season is Joel wants to be a stand-up comedian and he's bringing Midge with him to the bar and she's making brisket and doing all she can to get him up on stage. And when he sees her up there and she doesn't know he's there and she's fucking slaying, she's killing these people with how funny these jokes are. And he's like, he doesn't know what to do when he talks to Susie and Susie's just like, you didn't know what the fuck you had. You fucked up so bad, you idiot.
Oh, that was hard.
And he's just like, yeah, he just has this realization that, like, yeah, like, I totally fucking ruined that, but he knows he can't stay with Midge because he can't, like, he's the thing that Joel learned about himself, which isn't a very, like, it's not a quote unquote positive thing, is that he can't play second fiddle in,
not at
like,
all.
a relationship like that. Like, he wants to feel like he's, like, the successful, like, guy who can do everything, and he loves Midge, but he can't be that with Midge because she is so much funnier and smarter and like just like a better person than he is.
Yeah, the other thing that drives that point home is when he even says he'll get a job and a raise you can just live in the apartment I'll buy. I'll pay for the kids. I'll pay for everything.
That's so fucking stupid. Like, Joel is like, listen, like, I've made up this itinerary. Like, I made a budget. Like, if I get the raise at the job, and she's like, the job you hate, and he's like, doesn't matter. I'll get the raise at the job, and
it's so
you
hard.
and the kids can live here. And she looks at the thing, and she's like, there's no money for you in here, Joel. And he's like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
It's
like,
fine.
I'll just figure something out. Like, he feels like he fucked up so bad. Like,
He
he's
needs
just trying to
do
like
something.
he needs to sacrifice his wants and needs and life to like make everything better again, which he can't fix it.
No,
which is
not
what Joel
at
needs to
all.
learn. And that's one character in the show. That's one character who has this amazing life-changing experience over one season. We didn't talk about Susie, like self-fulfilling, making sure that Midge gets up there, like trying to find. I love
learning more about Susie. I love learning more about her character.
Such
She's
an
so
interesting character. And you see, again, you talked about how Abe changes and Rose changes, and like you understand why Moish and Shirley are Moish and Shirley, because they just love life and love each other. Like, this is such a good show. I don't fucking get why people aren't talking about it.
No, me neither. I'm glad it obviously has its audience of huge, sexy, big dicked, big boobed people and men that love this show, that are all handsome and beautiful. Oh, it's amazing. Season 5's coming out, eh? You know what's being filmed?
Yeah. It's going to be
That's amazing.
That's the last one.
That's the last one. So they're like finishing it on their...
Yep, that's another good thing about this.
That's beautiful.
Is that a show exists and it ends.
And then it ends. That you don't have Marvelous Miss Maisel season 12, and it's about Miss Maisel's sister that was orphaned at birth, and now she's a comedian, and they have to fight on stage. It ends.
It's like Cowboy Bebop. It's like Breaking Bad. It's like 100 other things that like...
It ends on purpose.
It's like what Archive 81 will never achieve, Dan.
Yeah, pretty much. Archive 81 came and then went, and the subreddit is now dead again.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But what are your final thoughts here? What are your final thoughts on Marvelous Miss Maisel? I feel like this is a shorter episode, but we just gushed, and I think if you learned, I think if you learned anything from us talking about the show, is just go and fucking watch it.
Yeah, if you're listening to us talk, you probably have the same general mindset about comedy and things as us. You will love this show. Just watch it. Just start watching it. I guarantee you'll want to watch more than one episode at once. They fly by, and they're an hour long.
I want more shows like this. More shows like this. And here's the thing, is that like a network television show doesn't really get the room to breathe like this.
No,
like
they need to be quick snippet, bite-sized jokes, and nothing needs to stick.
When a network commissions a show, they need to follow a trend or make something. It's always the underdog places, because going back to Mad Men, AMC was a fucking channel where they played old movies, and that was it. And they got enough money, and they were like, well, let's make a show about, we play a lot of movies from back in the day, so let's make a show about back in the day. And they made Mad Men. And Mad Men became an insane hit that spawned, like, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Walking Dead, like 100 other things because of that. Like, same thing with a lot of these Netflix programs and stuff, is that they give a creator some money and probably some direction, but they have less of a strict guideline to follow. I bet that's an exaggeration, and they have a stricter guideline for Miss Maisel, just because it feels like such a well-developed show that there must be a lot of hands in the pot or whatever, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like a show that lives and breathes.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that. I mean, pretty easy to say. Just go watch it. I love this show. I guarantee I will be rewatching it 100%. Just a good show. Just watch it.
Ruby's screaming and yelling. Ruby also agrees. Ruby was there and we watched Miss Maisel, and she loved it. She loved it. I picked her up. I gave birth to her with a blanket. She loved it.
Jim, we got that auto feeder for the cat, right?
Yes, you did.
She loves it. It's perfect. I think it's working perfectly. Like, she isn't meowing at us. She eats. She gets a bunch of small meals throughout the day, and then she's meowing right now because she's excited. I swear to God. But she's good. She's all good. But that's the end. That's the end of this episode, Jim.
Yeah. Watch Miss Maisel. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna probably watch it all the way through again, but when season 5 comes out.
Oh, me too. I guarantee after I finish it, I am 100% not stopping. I wanted to watch some tonight, but we're doing the deep dives. Yeah. We're doing the Elite Deep Dive and Deep Rock.
Season 2 is coming out tomorrow, Dan.
Tomorrow. That'll be on the next bi-weekly breakdown. Anyone that's still listening, rate us 5 stars in your podcast service. Rate us, Apple. That's amazing. Spotify. You can also rate stuff.
Yeah, rate the podcast. Yeah. Follow the podcast at ShackOutbackPod.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at ShackOutbackPod. I'm at Dan Sama.
I'm
Jim
at Popeye
Bark. Yeah.
Popeye Barkin. Popeye Barkin.
Yeah, Barkin.
Because I'm talking. Intro music by Lee Jackson. All podcast art and animations done by Brandon Chen at ArtStation. CassHDesign.com. And Dollbox something on Instagram. That's Jaden. I forget what the fuck it is, but it's my friend.
That's
Jaden.
it. That's it for tonight, Jim. Let's wrap it up. Thank you and good night.
No, what are we doing for next time?
Oh, what are we doing? Okay,
yeah,
so I was thinking, and Patrick brought it up last night, and I brought it up, and I was like, I'm so... Jim hasn't seen this movie, and I don't know how, Jim. We're going to watch Redline.
What is Redline? Is that the racing film?
Redline's the racing anime film that bankrupted a studio. We're going to watch it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's next. That's 2 weeks.
Is it on the Crunchyroll? Is that where it's on?
I have it on Blu-ray.
You have it on Blu-ray. Another excuse for me to go over to Dan's house and pet his cat. But how do you want to take us out of here, Dan? Give me some stand-up. Do some stand-up right now, Dan. Give it.
What's the deal with airplane food?
What's the deal with
on the airplane? What's the deal with dating a 17-year-old when you're 38? Her parents don't like you.
Good night.
Good night, darling.
Goodbye, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Dan.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Give me 2 seconds, Jim. Cut this out. I'm going to get my notepad.
I'm not cutting this out. Dan forgot I talked about Dan's notepad.
I am taking my notepad.
And now he didn't even fucking bring it. What a fucking...
Okay, I'm back. I mean, I've always been here.
Yeah, what's on your little notepad boy?